So today we're going to talk about what is Delve, just so that everybody's on the same page about what is actually retiring. What are we talking about?
Get you really excited about this thing right before they take it
right,
away. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, let's get going. Welcome, everyone. It's December 11th. This is Ask and Praxis. Gang is all here or coming in hot, so that's good. Today's topic is the Microsoft Delve retirement. So this just got announced, although it's been coming for a while. So today we're going to talk about what is Delve, just so that everybody's on the same page about what is actually retiring. What are we talking about?
Get you really excited about this thing right before they take it
right,
away. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, the tablecloth. What does Delve retirement mean? So what is that going to mean to you? And quite frankly, probably not much. Is there data loss? And yes, there is a little bit, but again, probably doesn't mean that much. How do users now edit their what was Delve profile? How do you edit your profile now? So we'll talk about that. And Todd is going to talk about properties that are synced from Entra ID, because I let him have a slide and then he dropped the ball, but more on that later. And then Derek is going to wrap up with custom properties. So we have a full day as usual. If you have questions or comments or thoughts or whatever, please put them in the chat. The rest of the team will be watching that closely, or I'll be watching that closely and forgetting to move ahead a slide. That always happens. So let us start off. Mark Anderson, I assume you are here, although I do not see you. Okay, great. We are on what is Delve. So starting here, we have this lovely, beautiful landing spot that you would get to when you go to the suite bar in Microsoft 365 and hit view my profile, and it would take you here, and it shows you, the people you're connected with and some of the details about your profile and where you are today. And interestingly, recent documents and documents you have associated with, and people, so that you can see documents they're working on. Interestingly enough, if you were with me on the Orchestra Extravaganza call that was right before this, or a little bit earlier today, we were talking about Copilot readiness, and I was sort of like, wait, what about search readiness? Because Copilot readiness is just search readiness, and they're really one and the same. And just to sort of feel that we're getting that it's all about Copilot readiness is just really not the case. But one person brought up the fact that when you have search misconfigured, the place you always saw that misconfiguration was Delve, because you'd start to see a whole bunch of files that you potentially weren't supposed to see, and they would show up on your Delve profile. So that was one way to know whether you had search set up or permission set up incorrectly, because you start seeing them on your Delve profile. And so now we're seeing Copilot do that sort of same thing, but it's really been the problem all along. So it's not Copilot readiness. It's not anything different than what it's always been. It's get your permissions set up correctly so that things aren't surfaced to the wrong people. And Copilot is just exasperating that. All right. So, Mark, tell us a brief history.
Well, I actually went and asked Copilot, because why would I want to write something? And this is what it gave me. But if you remember when Delve was launched with the blue logo in 2015, a lot of people freaked out. What do you mean? I can, people can see my documents and they can see what I'm doing. But it was all based on permissions, all based on the Office graph at the time. And it really, in a sense, was a showcase of the Office graph. It was showing that we could pull together signals about a person and see in a rather total way what they're up to. We've had a lot of clients where when we've gone in to start working with them, they've actually got the graph turned off. You see this a little bit less often now, but they had the graph turned off because of Delve. And the fact that it would show that those connections between people. Over time, a lot of the things that are going on in Delve have moved into other places. The people card didn't exist when Delve came out. Now we can see the information about a person wherever we see their name. We just hover over their name or click on their name, and we see, where they fit in the organization, what documents that they've been working on, et cetera. But only the things that we're allowed to see. That's the thing that people seem to have gotten much more used to than the early days of Delve, which was the freak out sort of zone. So having Delve go away at this point is, to me, a little bit less of a big deal, because a lot of that functionality is fanned out and is readily available in lots of other places.
That was my vibe as well.
Yeah.
Good job,
Next.
Mark and Copilot.
Yes. Well, Copilot, really. Next slide, Julie, please. So what does it mean? All of the underlying stuff, the things that make Delve work, the things that, the graph that's pulling all those signals together, all of the things that Delve is doing is still going to, or showing you, is still going to be underneath. It's just going to be in different places. There are some specific things that Delve provided that, frankly, I don't think a lot of people were using, that will go away. And I'll talk in the next slide a little bit more about what they are. And then as of December 16th, we'll just, instead of going to Delve, we'll go to profile pages on Microsoft 365, which have the majority of that content anyway. Next slide, please. So what will we lose? This is actually directly from that article, because I thought it was useful to just say exactly what Microsoft is doing. The only things that you're going to lose is that center section, the list of favorited documents, not the document, but the fact that you favorited it, the list of favorited boards. If anyone's using boards, I would love to see a hand up for that one. I don't think it's going to happen. Anyone?
Nobody.
I had to go and look up what a board was, because I couldn't remember. And then a list of any people that you have recently viewed in Delve, because Delve won't be there anymore. If you feel like you have content in Delve that you're going to miss, you can download it before December 16th very easily by going to Settings, Feature Settings, Export Data. So if you're concerned, go do that right now. Odds are there won't be anything in there that you really want to keep.
Absolutely. All right. So then how do users edit their profile now, Mark?
Oh, wait, it's me again. So interestingly enough, 2 days ago, Victor Weiland announced that it's time to start using the new edit your profile stuff. So this is actually out there now. If you look at your people card, you will see an update your profile link on that people card, and you can click on it and you can go and edit your stuff. If you're looking at someone else's people card, obviously you won't see update your profile because it's not your profile. So the UI is starting to modernize. Instead of going to Delve to do this, you can just do it in the context of your people card. I think Todd and Derek are going to talk a little bit about, what are some of the guardrails around this process.
Yeah.
They are. There is a question from Tara in the chat about, can we stop users from editing their profile? I think, Todd, you're sort of going to answer this, but the SharePoint user profile service has the ability to change which properties can be edited by a user. I think that's your only place at the moment to sort of manage that. And that's an administrator.
And before we go, because my slide's the next one, right? Yeah. So before we go to my slide, go back to the other one. So we've got two panes there. If you look at that right-hand picture, there's the contact pane that's got a bunch of information, work email, phone number, all that kind of stuff. And then there's the about one that's below that one. The about one is all the stuff that's in the SharePoint user profile service. So as we're going to talk about, and you can see the little I there that says, next to each of those things that says, well, we'll talk about the next slide. They can't edit those. And then, like Julie said, the stuff in the about her, the little I, the letter I next to email.
Oh, the little I, this guy.
Letter, there you go.
Oh, the letter I. I thought you meant the I icon.
Good use of the tool, though. I like that.
Hey, I'm here for you.
I like that.
I don't know how to clear it, though.
It's going to be out every slide from here on out now.
I forgot.
But the stuff in the About section, that's the stuff that you'll use the SharePoint user profile settings to change, Tara. So, and you say you have a messy hybrid AD situation too. Well, let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about that. So, like I just said, there's a bunch of profile stuff that is pulled in from Entra ID, and it's all of these here. They are not editable by the user by default. Oh, that's SAM account name. SN? Were you quizzing
Isn't
me?
it? It's
What?
surname, isn't it? Isn't it surname? It's your
No,
last name?
I think it's Sam account name.
We're going to agree to disagree. I think it's your last
No,
name.
Okay.
it's surname.
Oh, son of a gun.
Sorry,
Oh.
guys.
But these are the ones that
Rule
are on
number
that.
one: Julia's always right.
Except when she's mistaken.
And
Yes.
even when
Which I
she
don't
is
talk
mistaken,
when- I
she
don't
is
talk
always
when I
right.
mistake.
So these are the values that are pulled in from Entra ID, and they are not editable by the user by default. So that's when you get that letter I that says, if you click it, it says can't, talk to your admin, you can't change these. If you're like Tara and you have a messy hybrid AD situation, there's another layer that even inside of Entra ID, you can't change some of these because they're pulled in from Windows Active Directory. So I don't think there's any way to let people change those at all. But these you can go in and change and give people permission to change their own stuff. Some of them, like I don't imagine users would be able to change their user profile or user principal name. That seems scary.
I love going in and changing my title though. Grand Poobah, King of the World.
And then I have to keep changing it back.
Changing the back.
Pain in the butt.
And then the custom properties, and again, Julie already talked about the stuff in the About tab. That's all configured in the SharePoint User Profile service. And once you start drilling into that card, that update your profile card, there's going to be a link in the lower left that talks about how to update those properties. That takes you back to a SharePoint 2010 legacy interface to change those values. So don't be frightened.
I think Derek's going to chat about that in a second
Okay.
here. This one, just to point it out, I'm having fun with this little pointer, dude. Casper just pointed out in the chat that this property is the way that you can hide accounts from Microsoft Search. So that's definitely a good thing to know. Thanks, Casper, for putting that in the chat. That's a good one. So if you have service accounts that you don't want to show up in Microsoft Search, that is a good way to fix that. I wonder if I just move forward if it's going to be gone. Let's try it. It did. All right, Derek.
Oh my goodness.
On to you, my friend.
As with all things, we love to talk about APIs. And with the new profile card that's out there, we do have the ability to add different properties to the profile card with the Graph API. So what we can do here is we can add any of the additional Entra ID properties to the card that aren't already on there. So UPN, fax, I don't know who still has a fax, but we can do that. We could do street address, postal code, all of those. We could add any of those to the card and they'll show up. The other thing that we can do is very similar to search, where we've got, our refinable strings and our refinable dates. We have extension slots that we can add custom data to. So we can add a custom extension attribute, and there are 15 slots. So from there, we can add the data in those slots to the profile card. Now it takes 20, you can do that through the Graph. You can also do it through PowerShell, but don't tell Todd you can do it through PowerShell. But you can do it through the Graph. That's the only way you can do it. And it can take up to 24 hours for it to show up in the card afterwards. And I think that's really cool. I mean, I think at the end of the day, though, there still is the question of then how do you get that data into
Well, I was just going to go there. I was going to take that next step and say, this is where, if we had the maturity model slide up, which we do not, but if we had the maturity model slide up, we would be talking about integrating with other systems, right? So if you are someone who uses Workday or something like some other SaaS provider for your HR data, or it could be other things too. I don't want to limit this as to an HR thing. Maybe there's a set of projects in your project management system that you're on and you want to surface that in someone's profile card and keep it updated or whatever. So we could be talking about some back end synchronization that we would do between those systems by bringing that data together using some of our Azure resources to make that happen timer jobs, et cetera, to start stinking in data into those custom slots that we have that are people-related data, but not necessarily stored in Microsoft 365. It could be, though, all the Microsoft 365 data stored in a SharePoint site or stored in Yammer or stored in some, note my not use of Viva. That's a whole nother can of worms. But, so it could be stored anywhere. If it's people-centric data and it's something that you want to be able to surface on that profile card so that people can quickly see that information, this is a great way to extend that user interface so people can get that information. So they're not linkable, though, I don't think. You can't make a link out of them. So you couldn't say like project and then have that project name be a link to take you to the project system. I was pretty sure.
No, the data is a string.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So what you're putting it, you could put in project Okta. You could put that in there as their list of projects. I mean, quite frankly, you could put in a list of what they're working on.
Yeah.
Right. If you had a set of SharePoint data that listed out the projects that you're working on, absolutely you could do that. You could list out, things like, certifications that you
have,
a good one.
Or
the fact that somebody's an MVP. Is there an API for the MVP? Find an MVP
there
site.
Was remember skills was one we got asked about a lot. I don't hear that much anymore, but we got asked about skills a ton.
Skills are on the about. If you go back one or two.
Yeah.
Slides.
But you could sync them from another system too.
You could, yes. Yeah.
So were custom attributes, were they available with the Delve profile? Was that something you could surface in there?
I don't think so. No,
I don't think so.
I remember.
Mm-mm. So this is one of the benefits of moving to this new interface.
Yeah. You could, but it was very difficult.
Okay.
Let's say no then, Mike.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Mike, you're looking so
Mike
festive.
could do it with his Santa hat on.
Mike had to show off his Santa hat because he's not wearing a headset like me. I'd be wearing mine if I wasn't.
The magic of the Santa hat is what allows you to surface that stuff in Delve.
You just go.
It's a requirement.
And then it happens.
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean, I should also mention I included the graph endpoint here for adding something to the profile cards. There's also a endpoint to remove things from the profile card. I didn't go deep in this but there's also a if you look in the resources slide, there's a link to how you can actually go, what the calls are, what the responses are, and you can get all of that information. So
I think go ahead, Todd.
I was gonna say, and that's a good reminder that with Delve going away, all that is just the interface to access all these other things. And it's all in the graph, it's all whatever. So these are we've just moved the window to the data. We haven't changed any of the data.
I have a question, which I don't know that I know the answer to. I always go to Delve, like if I need to change my language setting. Where is that going?
When do you not speak English?
When I'm at the bar?
That's part of your profile. So
yes.
That's pretty easy.
Well, right. But so normally I would click on the about and then I would go to the more,
yeah, I think
it's like,
be, yeah. But I think it's going to be,
deep.
It's going to be on the, so if we go back, I think Todd sort of mentioned this before. Oh, look, did everybody notice that? Sorry.
Yeah, it's still there.
Prelude, it's still there. All right. That's interesting. Going back. Wait, did I go back too far?
You went too far.
Yes.
There. This, I can draw. Hold, please. That is the whole SharePoint. So if we were on the about, look at how it made my circle nicer. If we were on the about screen, that would be the SharePoint profile page.
Yeah.
So probably it would then show up there, but somebody should test it.
I'm on it right now and it is not there.
It's not.
It is not.
So the reason we use it, Mike may have it. Mike may have it in the chat.
That Santa hat, man, yours is way better than mine.
Wow. Mike, to the rescue today.
Just to explain why the questions may be relevant, I think the reason we wonder about it is because we were working on Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways, and it's multilingual and supports up to 9 languages. So we were constantly changing our own languages so that we could see how the UI would change and what it would look like. So that's where that question.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike,
Oops.
for peeling that orange for me. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
Nice. All right.
So now I have to ask, is Icelandic a supported language in there, Derek?
It is not. It is not.
Well,
Nope. Everybody in Iceland uses they may type it in the site is in English, but they
Right.
type in all their values in Icelandic.
makes sense.
All right. So so what we're seeing though is we have some things on the profile card that we can add there, but they are adding new properties. And so this is one of the first ones, right, Derek?
Yeah, actually, Patrick's going to talk about this one.
Oh, my bad. Patrick. He's on mute.
Or not.
I was going to say I haven't been heard from, but I got the Todd treatment today.
Todd really
So,
should be the only
I
one
was
getting the
just-
Todd treatment, but we'll allow it.
I was just going to jump in here and talk about personal pronouns on People Card. This is allows individuals to set their pronouns in the People Card. They are visible to everyone in the whole organization, and it's enabled through the M365 Admin Center. But just to revisit that second bullet, giving users the ability to set the pronouns is great because obviously it's important for recognition of who we are as people. But that, as of yet, there are no security boundaries to selectively share or change your pronouns based on who you are. So when you choose that, it is seen by everyone in the organization. And I'm just mentioning that. So certainly if, for instance, someone is in the middle of the transition and they only want their team to know and not the entire organization, they can't make that selection to just show their team. It's everyone or no one. So it's good for organizations who roll this out to let people know that. Certainly, it'd be one mass way of coming out just to the entire organization.
I'm
Surprise!
here.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, I think that is in the works, but it has not been rolled out yet. So it is good to let people know because you don't want to make the mistake of changing something and
Well, that also goes for your name. Like if somebody
well-
actually changed the ability for someone, like in the user profile service said they can change their first name or their last name or whatever.
And where is that last name stored? What's the value on that again?
SN.
SN.
God,
I'll-
SN.
I'll be-
Surname.
All right.
Hmm.
It's a terrible abbreviation in Europe, in your defense. Anything else on this, Patrick? That was a good
no,
cover.
that's it.
I will
Okay.
say one other thing about that. Right now, at least on my tenants, pronouns show up inside the People Card in Teams, but they were not showing up in the People Card in anywhere else.
Yeah.
So if I was in the Teams client, I could see my pronouns, but if I was in SharePoint or I was in OneDrive, I couldn't see that.
So I wonder. So I was going to replace the screenshots of this user with one in my demo tenant, and it wasn't showing up the same. I wonder if these are from Teams and mine were from the
That
web.
could probably be.
I bet that's
Quite
what it was.
possibly. Although, did you turn it on? Did you turn
Well,
it
it
off
wasn't-
and did you turn it on again?
Yeah, it was already on, but it wasn't just the pronouns. Just like there were different elements that were missing. Like the profile picture didn't exist in one spot.
Yeah,
I
Things
think
like that.
I think
the
that
Teams card looks different than the card everywhere else right now.
Yeah, I think
in my
that
tenants.
this screenshot actually
Is a
doesn't
mock-up.
match the formatting exactly. The
Yeah,
update
it's a
your
mock-up.
profile is not a button. So
Right.
this is the problem of Figma ahead of execution.
100%.
Yep.
Tara points out in the chat that
Yeah.
name pronunciation is coming soon. Yeah, that is a great one. We've known that was coming, and that is a good one because I think, well, I personally would love that.
Me too.
I find it difficult to say some international names, and I love to try to do it correctly. So to have that ability to have something pronounced, so like our friend Laura K, who I'm not even going to say her last name, but she's Finnish. Her last name is very difficult to say, and I
Kokonen.
try not to butcher. Okay, thank you.
Show off.
Still can't say it. Nice job though. So those types of things. Maybe I could practice. In the
If you wanted to appear as a Solon to the rest of your team members, for example.
Shut up, Mark.
We
A
are
Solon,
on fire today.
a Solon who is a wise person.
The question is, will it be, just a little microphone play button, so you actually hear the voice, or is it going to be phonetic, where they spell it out in a way that you can
I
pronounce?
think it was both. We saw a demo of it, or at least a Figma video of it, at a conference or something, where it was going to be both written and audio.
And you could record your own voice saying your last name.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'll end up being, but that was thrown out there as possibilities.
I think now that the user profile is coming, we're going to be able to start editing, and as of this week in this new UI, we're going to start to see more cool stuff happen there. This is just the beginning of a progression toward richer ways to think about people and ourselves. So I would say, one of the things that's slowed down the enablement of better people information is the old UIs we've had to edit it. So again, this is the beginning of a longer process that I think you'll start to see improvements of in for that I may or may not be aware of that you should be excited about.
Oh, and Tara shared a good link on what the user profile pronunciation.
Oh,
thanks, Tara.
Is this already out? So it looks like this is already out?
I thought I saw this in our tenant.
No, name pronunciations is part of the public preview program and might undergo
that's
further
why.
changes before being released.
Public preview.
So it's in the Teams public preview, but this is dated.
3 years
So
ago.
it might actually be out.
Well, we haven't seen it.
We haven't seen it yet.
All right.
Woohoo!
Well, that's
Anyway.
good to know. All right. Resources. Here's some resources. Get your links. I'm sharing, so you should be able to click. I'll sit here. All right. And on to the next one. So January 8th is our next one. We are skipping for the Christmas holiday because this team all celebrates Christmas. So we're skipping for the Christmas holiday. But I hope that everyone has a wonderful holiday season and enjoys whatever holiday they celebrate. So January 8th, we're back. Copilot agents in SharePoint. We'll talk through that. The CS Live is updated for next year. So Mark and I will be at Community Days Miami with Emily Mancini's show down there, which should be great. The Microsoft 365 Community Conference. We're back in Vegas this year, moving from Orlando back to Vegas. I'm not thrilled. Vegas is my least favorite place. Mark and myself and Derek will all be there. And then the European Collaboration Summit, Mark, Derek, and I will be there. That's Dusseldorf at the end of May. So please feel free to see us at all those events if you are in the mood to travel or you're going to be there.
I expect everyone here to fly from event to event to see us, no matter where we are.
That would be good.
We should have like a punch card, and every time you see us at an event,
Exactly.
I think it was Eric Shups. Wasn't it Eric Shups who posted the fact that you could actually travel to the European Collaboration Summit, buy your plane ticket, fly from the States, go to ECS, even pay for the ECS ticket for cheaper than you can go to the big Microsoft conferences.
Yeah,
so,
true.
Not for nothing. Go to
and it's
Dusseldorf,
a really nice conference.
check out Europe. It's a great, it's a great conference. So
the one thing I want to point out on both the Microsoft 365 Community Conference and the European Collaboration Summit is if you are interested in going, we will be getting discount codes. If you're thinking of buying a ticket, hold off just a bit because as soon as we get those, we'll share those on our website and here as well.
Yeah, and or ping us in Teams or whatever,
us,
and we can make sure you get it as soon as we get it.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's all we got.
Money.
Yeah, exactly. That's all we got today. So thanks for joining us. Come back on January 8th for the next episode, and we appreciate you. Take care.
Thank you so much for joining us this week on Ask Some Praxis. We love getting your questions or session ideas. You can submit by using the link in About. If you find this helpful, hit that like or subscribe button and share this content with your colleagues.